get into the mess of the mess. Happy Saturday, y'all. Baby. this this afternoon is a little rough. But let's get down to the mess of the mess. And I got a few topics to get into today. But first off, like, share, subscribe, and join the channel. But let's get down to it. First up, we got then we had the other Menendez brother. It's he ended up being denied bail himself. I said, "Damn." I said they both been in there for the same amount of time for 36 years already. And they was up for parole. He was up for parole and he was denied too, right after his brother just got denied. I said, damn. I said, like, nobody getting out. But they married and everything. I said, good for them. But you know, time will tell if they'll get out or not. It's really crazy. Um, it's just crazy. That's all I can say. Because a lot of people out here, I'm like, there's a lot of people who are out for actually doing the same thing. But I'm like, okay, it's what it is. But I'm just thinking off the top of the head. But good luck, sir. Let's move on to the next. Let's get into, oh God, we got Evelyn Lozada. So she was on something. Some doing some interview where she ended up saying that they asked her was she afraid of was she actually afraid of OG? And she admitted that she was. I said, girl, we seen it on your face. We see it on your face every time you got into it with OG. Because OG was ready to do you in, not with the word, not just with words, but physically. She can handle you. Baby. I don't know who you thought you ever pumped on that show. Because I said every woman that you end up trying to go against, none of them was scared of you. None of them flinched or anything. So I'm a little confused with the whole thing. And a little side note about her. So her and her daughter did their own podcast where they invited Evelyn's mom on there and we all heard the story of Evelyn's grandmother, her mom's maternal mother, and her mother was a racist. She liked Evelyn's sister, but didn't like Evelyn, because of her skin tone. But come to find out that Evelyn's their dad was black. And the mom didn't like him either. And stuff like that. But I said, Evelyn, you actually are your grandmother. I said, that's the crazy thing about it. Your grandmother was, had problem with skin tone. And you do the same, it's like you became the exact person that your grandmother is. And I said, that's just my opinion. That's how I look at it. And it's like you her. And she never liked you. And she may have seen herself in you. She may have seen exactly who you was gonna be when you grew up. Huh. And she didn't like it. But that's a little sad note. But she said she was afraid of OG and everything because I said OG did toss you when you came for Malaysia's you might as well say, would that be her aunt? Because I think the basketball player was her uncle. Yeah, I want to say that was her uncle, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that would became her aunt or whatever. But it was family. When you got tossed in no bushes. Because you try to run up on the whole, you try to run up on the heifer. Hey, OG said I wasn't having it. You ain't running up on my friend. But that's what's going on there, y'all. Let's move on to the next. Let's get into it. We got a tennis star, a pro tennis star um who actually is charging men $1,000 deposit to date her. After joining OnlyFans, she no longer dates for free due to the behavior of men. I said, girl, why was you dating for free to begin with? Oh, baby. I said, best. I said, well, I said, more power to you, girl. I said, more power to you. And it was the comments for me. The comments you had, and there was a lot of fellas in the comments saying, like, I want to know who the guys actually paid for that. It make me look at them suspicious on what their real agenda is. Their real agenda was that they wanted to get with her. Even if they wanted to, trying to hit, they had to date her. They had to pay her to date her. So that's what it was. And I have no problem with it. I said, girl, make your money. I said, make your money. You got that body. And the way these men act out, majority of these men act out, act out, act out here. I wouldn't even, I ain't gonna even play you for it. I said, shoot, if these men will pay $1,000 deposit to go on dates with you each time, then so be it. Don't hate the player. But move on with that. Tell me how you feel about it. But let's move in to Mr. Donald Trump himself. So this man is getting ready to do what he did, what he's doing in DC with this crackdown. Actually, with him going through the neighborhood and just he just going through the neighborhood attacking the black folks and just attacking all minorities. Period. So he plans to do this in Chicago. He said the black women in Chicago been wanting him to come through and do this and stuff. I said, ain't nobody checking for you. Ain't nobody thinking about you. And I said, ain't no woman. He said them pretty ladies. Ain't none of that. Ain't nobody don't nobody want you to do none of that. Nobody. I said you already got ICE in Chicago. So what's the reason of you doing the same thing you trying to do in Washington, D.C., when you already got ICE doing it for you, been doing it for you in Chicago for this whole entire time that you've been in office? Yeah, he's funny in his old age. But move on from there. Let's get into the last thing I got up today, and baby. Ooh. So we have a situation up in the UK, y'all. So this trans woman ended up being found end up getting convicted for essay assault. So apparently my whole thing is how you meet up with she met up with a dude on Snapchat. They met up, they linked up, and she gave him fellatios. And when he tried to want to touch her and go below, she said she's on her period. So after she did the thing, um, after that she ended up texting him and telling him that she was trans woman and she still had her parts. And then she blocked him. So um he ended up filing charges and stuff, said if he knew anything about that, he wouldn't have went through with it. I said, wait a minute. I said, who is meeting up with anybody on Snapchat? Like you linking up. You're linking up to do what you want to do. And I don't believe this man when he said he wouldn't have went through with it. I said you would have. You give me you would have, but you was so mad that the person lied and they shouldn't have. They should have just been 100% truthful about it. But then let's get this. The defense claimed that how you didn't it was so obvious that this was a tranny. I said, defense, y'all know y'all wrong. How you supposed to how you gonna do that when you know your client right there? you you know the client right there, and you telling them like you should have known when you hooked up with them that this was a tranny. You can look at the exhibit A. I said, I can't take this. I said the UK is a mess. But that's all that I got for y'all today. It's your boy Paul. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, enjoy the channel. And I'll get back at y'all later. But first up, let me see what's going on in the chat and see what's going on. Hey, everybody in the chat, how you doing? Ozzy, Ozzy. But thank y'all for tuning in, and I get back at y'all later. Bye, y'all.